Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Rookie Card Collector 123 video. In today's episode, we're going to continue our look at some Negro League baseball memorabilia from the mid and late 1940s. These are going to be primarily postcards, photographs, programs, scorecards. I think we have a calendar in there, and also a broadside. So a lot of interesting, unique items. We're going to see a few Hall of Famers, and everybody that we're going to take a look at on these items is going to be a significant star in the Negro Leagues, U.S. Negro Leagues during their time. Like I said, items today are going to be the mid to late 40s. So the first item we're going to look at today is a New York Cubans photograph with three teammates on it. The premier player pictured on this one is going to be Ray Dandridge. Dandridge was a Hall of Fame third baseman, spent his entire career in the Negro Leagues. Came up to the U.S. Negro Leagues around 1937, 1938. Spent several years with the Newark Eagles. Later on in his career, played for the New York Cubans. Dandridge is pictured here on his New York Cubans uniform, along with two Cubans teammates. I don't have IDs for the two of them. The photograph is dated circa 1949, so that's approximately the time frame this was taken. And really nice image with Dandridge in the center and two New York Cuban teammates on the ends. This one's probably close to 8 by 10. Okay, next one we're going to take a look at is another circa 1949 image. This one is the Memphis Red Sox, which was a Negro American League team. This was also circa 1949. The leading star here is going to be Willie Wells, who was the Hall of Fame shortstop great. He's the guy in the jacket here who's congratulating the player crossing home plate. Looks like maybe after a home run, along with several teammates there. So Willie Wells was a Negro League shortstop great. Came up in the 20s and played more than 2 decades, including winter ball as well as U.S. Negro Leagues. And widely regarded after Pop Lloyd as probably the next great Negro League shortstop. Unfortunately, never got a chance to play in the majors. So Willie Wells, Memphis Red Sox, a bunch of teammates there, congratulating a Memphis Red Sox, it looks like after a home run was hit. Also appears to be about an 8 by 10 photo. Next one here is also another 1949, circa 1949 image. This one is also Memphis Red Sox. You'll see Hooks Brothers stamp on the bottom there. And that one was also on the other Memphis Red Sox photo. That was the photographer from the Memphis, Tennessee area that took these photographs. Famous photographer for Negro League Baseball during the 40s. This one also pictures Willie Wells. He's over here next to the gentleman in the suit, along with 3 other teammates and two gentlemen dressed in formal attire. So again, Wells, Hall of Fame shortstop, Negro League great, and another 1949 Memphis Red Sox image. Next one we're going to look at is this one's a little light. It's another 1949 Memphis Red Sox image. This one is Pedro Formental in a batting follow-through pose after a swing. So Formental was a Negro League star throughout the 40s and into the 50s. Also played winter ball in Puerto Rico, Cuba. several Latin American countries. Formental was a good hitter, not a Hall of Famer, but a strong player during his day. And pictured here with the Memphis Red Sox with the nice baseball stadium background. You can see sort of somebody out by the second base area there. And a nice image of Formental. That one's also probably an 8 by 10 or so. So another 1949 Memphis Red Sox. This one also has Hooks Brothers in the bottom right-hand corner in white, imprinted in the photo. And the last one on this page we're going to look at is a 1949 Cuban baseball program. This image is kind of light. The actual item is easier to see. But this one has Alejandro Crespo, who is a big Negro League and Cuban baseball star, in his left-handed batting pose on the cover, along with an advertisement for an alcoholic beverage. And this probably also included inside a scorecard where you could actually score the game. This one came from Cuba, like I said, and Alejandro Crespo on the cover. A little bit hard to see that one. Okay, next one this is a broadside. We looked at one or two of these in our previous episodes. So these were really big. Most of these probably ran somewhere in the 18 by 24, 24 by 31. Really oversized items, usually made out of a thicker cardboard. And these were used to promote upcoming baseball games, either between two Negro League teams or sometimes between a Negro League team and a semi-pro or town ball club. These were usually put in the downtown area in the city where the Negro League Stadium was, and they would advertise upcoming games, usually in storefront windows, typically hardware stores, drugstores, places like that, where people would frequent in the downtown shopping areas. So this one has the Kansas City Monarchs. This one was from 1949, advertising a game at Comiskey Park in Chicago. It's got a lineup of all the Kansas City Monarchs pictured in a single file line there. These single file line photos were pretty common in Negro League baseball memorabilia. You'll find a lot of this type of format. Some of the stars I'll read off from that 49 Monarchs team were Willard Brown, Connie Johnson, Lefty Lamarck, Booker McDaniels, Buck O'Neill, Bonnie Sorrell, Herb Sewell, and Bob Thurman. Willard Brown and Buck O'Neill are two in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and all the other guys I just mentioned were major stars in the Negro Leagues during the 40s. So really nice broadside there. If you're ever looking to purchase one of these types of items, these broadsides, just be aware there's a lot of fake counterfeits, forgeries out there, reprints, and you really got to be familiar or talk to somebody who's familiar and has expertise in this area to avoid ending up buying something that, like I said, turns out not to be real, original. So 49 Kansas City Monarchs broadside advertising an upcoming game at Comiskey Park in Chicago. Next thing we're going to look at is a 1949 to 50. It's a Havana team premium. This would be something that would have been sold in a Cuban League baseball game, Winter League, probably at the stadium. This one pictures the Havana club. Like I said, it's 49 to 50 Winter League. Havana was one of the four professional Cuban baseball teams that goes all the way back to the 1800s. This one, the major names pictured on here were Max Manning and John Ford Smith. Most of them have very small print. They have names at the very bottom of the image there. You would not be able to see it in this photo, but if you have the actual item, a lot of the names are printed in there. And this one has Adolfo Luque, who was the manager up here in the corner. Luque was one time was a Cincinnati Reds star pitcher in the major leagues during the 19 teens and 20s. Excuse me. So 1949-50 Habana Premium. These were called orthopedias. Next one we're going to look at is another 49-50 team premium. This one is a more traditional format. It's the 3 rows of ball players posed in front of baseball stadium seating. This is another Cuban item. It's the Cienfuegos Elefantes, which is elephants, baseball team. And everybody's named at the bottom, identifications. It's a black and white team image. Around the border of it is a green colored border with small images of elephants, which was, like I said, the team logo for Cienfuegos. The major stars here were Alejandro Crespo, Silvio Garcia, and Julio Rojo. And they're all named on the bottom. You would not be able to see it in this photo here, but in the original piece you would. So another really nice Cuban League item. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is again from 1949. This is a East-West All-Star Game program, and it highlights the Homestead Grays and the Comedy Kings upcoming game. The East-West All-Star Game was very similar to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, which started in 1933 in Chicago. Negro League All-Star Game, they did, instead of National League, American League, they did East-West. And that also started right around the same time, early to mid-1930s. And that was an annual event that actually tended to draw more people to their All-Star Game than the Major League All-Star Games did. And these were typically the African American people who lived in the towns where the Negro League ball clubs played. So the highlight of this one on the cover here is Sam Jethro. Jethro would go on to become a major league star with the Milwaukee Braves, Boston Braves, I believe, when he first came up before they moved to Milwaukee. Jethro was a second baseman, an excellent hitter and fielder, and one of the guys that transcended Negro League baseball and made the transition later on to the major leagues. So a really cool baseball program from 1949, East-West All-Star Game. On the side of that one, we've got a circa 1948. This one is a real photo postcard. It's got 3 teammates from the Cuban team, including Ray Dandridge, who's over here on the left-hand side, squatting in the dugout there. Dandridge is sitting there along with 2 other Team Cuba teammates. So 48, Dandridge was getting toward the end of his Negro League career, was still playing winter ball every season. Played many years in Cuba, also played in the Dominican Republic, and as most of the major league, most of the Negro League guys did in the offseason to earn extra money. So Ray Dandridge, Hall of Fame third baseman from the Negro Leagues, real photo postcard, really cool item. Okay, next one we're going to look at, it's actually 3 different images here across the top of the page. These were from a premium that was sold as a booklet, small booklet at the ballpark. These 3 guys all played for the Habana team. So this came from a Habana premium booklet. Each player had an individual page in the book. Some of the players were back to back. On one side of the page would be one player photo, on the other side would be another player photo. They also had advertising for the Trinidad EO brand. So some of the backs would have advertising on the back, and some of the backs would have player bios, typically 3 on a page. So you'd have biographies of 3 different players on the back of one page, which included a player image on the front. So these booklets are very rare. There's probably less than a dozen of each known to exist these days. The 3 stars on this one were Pedro Formental, Henry Kimbrough, and Lenny Pearson. Those are 3 Habana ball players, and this is from the 48-49 Cuban Winter League season. Okay, the next pair that we're going to look at is from the same Trinidad EO premiums booklet. This is the Marianao team premiums. So these were Marianao players, one of the 4 Cuban Baseball League teams in the 48-49 season. The 2 guys pictured here is Chiquitín Cabrera, who was a Negro League star, and then also Buck Leonard over here, who was one of the biggest names in Negro League baseball history. Buck Leonard was a first baseman. He played on the Homestead Grays with Josh Gibson that won 9 consecutive Negro League pennants during the late 30s and into the 40s. So the Buck Leonard Trinidad EO page, which was graded by CGC, this exact item here originally sold recently, a few months ago, in a Hakes auction for just under $10,000. So these Trinidad EO player images are super rare. Like I said, probably under a dozen known of each, and starting to gain a lot of value in the hobby, especially the bigger name guys, Hall of Famers. And we're going to look at another Trinidad EO booklet. This one is our Almendaris here. And Almendaris, we've got 2 stars. We've got Monty Irvin prior to his Major League Baseball days with the Almendaris Cuban League team. Again, these are 48-49 Winter League. And actually on the back of the Irvin page is Sam Jethro, who was on the same Almendaris team, and they're actually back-to-back on the same page. So that one is a super cool item to own. The Monty Irvin recently sold in a Hakes auction as well. I think that one did somewhere around $3,000 or $4,000. So these are something to keep a lookout for in case you ever come across one. A few of them still exist in a booklet format, and then there's individual ones which CGC has started to grade. So really super rare, cool stuff. So that's going to wrap up today's episode for some more look backs at Negro League memorabilia. A lot of unique pieces here. Like I said, booklets, programs, scorecards, photos, postcards, a little bit of everything. Several Hall of Famers, and a lot more. So I've done this all the way back to the 19th century, and we started in the early 50s. So right now we're at 1948 or 48-49. As we continue next episode, we will move on with the 48s and work our way back towards 47 and so on. So I hope you like the super rare items and maybe seen a few things you never saw before. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.